Joystick. I'm your host today, Cordy Yikes, and I have here with me Danielle. How are you today?
Great. How are you?
I'm good.
Oh,
For
no, no.
people who don't know who you are, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. I am Danielle Sirekis. I am the director of Esports at Florida Institute of Technology in Melbourne, Florida. It's just right off the east coast of Florida. But I am originally from Michigan, and I've
Ooh.
been down here about this month. It's 10 months, might be 11 months. Math ain't
Oh,
mathin'. I think it's 10 months. January of
yeah.
the year.
Hooray. I mean, so you're enjoying from cold weather to now hot weather.
Oh, yes. There's by a landslide. It's funny because I last week or something I posted on my Facebook. Yeah, I still use Facebook. Sorry for everyone
No,
listening.
it's
Um,
okay.
I, I posted on my Facebook that hey, Florida is still 80s, and my family and some other people were like, "Oh, it's 80 here." I'm like, "It's just a high of 80." I see it says 46 tonight. What are you talking about? So,
Right?
yeah.
It's like the lows tonight for you is probably going to be like 72 if that.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Oh
You are
man.
correct. It is the life.
So you are a director and you do a bunch of CEO stuff or co-founding with coffee and esports.
Yeah.
You do have a lot of hats. How do you like go through your day to day?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I can't stress enough that having some awesome support systems it really helps it. I would say, as you know, our friend Jackie, you just recently interviewed her. She does a lot of I would say the heavy lifting with esports and coffee, and so does Sari. Um, uh, AJ is awesome too. She does her little gremlin podcast. I'm forgetting the name at the moment. They're gonna get after me. But I am more the personality, I guess. So that's my role is to talk. I'm the biggest yapper in the room. But I am also going to school, which you didn't get to see that part, to get a master's degree. So it's a lot of scheduling. With Florida Tech, it's taken kind of the front and center at the moment
Hmm.
because I'm doing a lot of structure with leadership and delegating roles and learning to get delegate as I teach people how to delegate.
Right.
So here I have an awesome assistant director, Anna Patterson. It's what kind of drew me here. So having help from her is awesome. Um, but definitely scheduling. I know I spend the weekends doing my homework for school. And then every other Wednesday we get to do our awesome podcast and some whatever initiatives I get summoned by them just to be a part of. So um, balance.
Yeah. What are you going to get your master's in?
Master's in business administration. Surprise,
Oh,
surprise.
nice.
And then a little bit of focus on project management. I started my MBA at my former institution,
Hmm.
and the focus was project management. Here, they do it a little bit differently. So it's just the MBA. And then what I'll do is I'll graduate and then take a couple project management courses to have that like little project management master's degree as well. So I'll be done, but not completely done.
That's awesome. That's very
Yeah.
cool. And so like how did you end up getting to do like the directing side for Florida Tech?
Yeah. I think that esports is a little bit interesting because we all have titles that were just kind of given to us by our institutions and said, that's what we'll call it. The head coach, director, coordinator, uh, sometimes manager, based on if they're the person running the show. Um, is all kind of encompassed at most of the same universities. Now,
Okay.
responsibilities are a little bit different. So here, um, Dana, the former director, had started the program, and she was a director at a former college too, and she had started the program and decided that she needed to step away from esports. Well, from Florida Tech for some family health reasons, and then she has a different role with the government, which is also a super cool role with esports.
Yeah.
So she had been looking for somebody that kind of could be a successor. And we have similar but different leadership styles. But it's awesome because I kind of get to take it to the next level or a different level, or I don't even think that's the right word. It's almost like she had worked hard for all these things to come into fruition and didn't get have the fun part of it, and now the fun part of it gets to happen, and I kind of get that part of it. So
Right. It kind of reminds me of that TikTok where it's like, what is it? She ran so that she can walk, kind of thing.
yeah, she walked so I could run, right? Wait,
Yeah, something like that. Where like she runs
we're already
where I can walk, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. We're butchering it. Hopefully, if she listens or anyone listens, they'll tell us if we were wrong. Don't worry.
Right.
That's part of
Yes.
my charm, just to say the wrong thing, but everyone knows what I mean,
Right. Exactly. That's like the best part of all of this.
right?
Now, you've also co-founded with a few incredible pretty much ladies, because you're probably, I think, the third person I've talked to that's part of coffee and esports. How has that been for you?
Yeah. So I had already mentioned the one and only Jackie.
Yeah.
Jackie and I had become fast friends in the beginning of kind of like my journey. She had already been in esports for about a year. Well, over a year. She's a lifelong gamer, but um, started the program at Mankato in Minnesota, and she had we chatted a lot, and we felt really kind of like alone. Not alone because we had each other and we had other friends in esports, but it's almost like you can't really always share the same experiences unless you're like and I don't want to make it about being a woman in esports, but it kind of is
Right.
like if you're around a bunch of people that don't necessarily have the same struggles, you don't necessarily understand them, or we have a lot of awesome men in esports and people who are trying to understand each other's struggles. So I think that's what makes it unique. Anyway, on topic. Um, Jackie and I had been talking, and we really wanted a space for people to kind of just like come and spread joy and positivity, because on Twitter and social media, you see a lot of negativity, and there's a lot
Yeah.
of good things happening in esports. And the negativity often drowns out the positivity. So we kind of just had pushed this initiative together to try to drown it all out. And obviously, at the same time, elevating people. So in that journey, we kind of had come across Sari and AJ, and Katie, and it just kind of naturally got together and became a brainchild of each other. So and we all have our awesome strengths too. So I think it just in a perfect way kind of works together.
That's awesome. Now, I was told that sometimes it's not coffee in your cup. What preference drink do you have in it?
Yeah, so I usually have been drinking water. So esports and coffee, I have drank wine before.
Yeah.
I'm not supposed to say that, but I'm not a huge drinker. Like well, I'm a one and done girl. Unless I'm socially like in a room with people. But yeah, I've made the mistake of drinking too much wine at an esports coffee
Oh no.
podcast or a gaming event, and I paid for it the next day. Drink responsibly, anyone who's
Yes.
listening. Make sure you drink water. Uh, you know, all the things I'm supposed to say. I do
That's
love
awesome.
coffee though. I think I'm like the only one that loves coffee. So I don't even know, honestly, the esports and coffee thing. I think I had just been chatting and all of a sudden I was like, why don't we just call it like esports and coffee? I don't, and then I think we had been dumping names. I'm not even sure. I'd have to go back in our chat and find out how it even got called that. Um, I know I loved coffee. So it's
Right.
probably derived from me because Sarah doesn't drink coffee.
Mm-mm.
um, I don't think I don't even think Jackie drinks coffee.
No, I think
Uh,
she says she drinks Mountain Dew in her cup.
Yeah, yeah, and then, um, AJ also doesn't drink coffee. Sarah doesn't drink coffee because she gets rambunctious. AJ, I think, doesn't like the taste, so maybe she drinks tea?
Oh, right.
Yeah,
That sounds good. Now,
the lore.
I did talk to Sari about the experience at the Game Hers Awards.
Mhm.
Were you watching that? How did you feel about it? Were you shocked?
Yeah, I was watching from afar, and, there are a lot of great people in those categories and a lot of great groups doing a lot of wonderful things, so, um, it was almost like I don't wanna say too good to be true, but so shocking. I know I cried,
Yeah,
because it's almost like we spend our, like, blood, sweat, and tears trying to get to this, and then there's a lot of people who are doing a lot of good, and it's just this simply helping people kind of get to those places, and all of that to be recognized is just I don't want to say wild, but it was wild. And then to see Sari up there, um, she's awesome. So it was awesome that she got to go because I don't think any of us really thought that we were gonna win. Not that we were doubting ourselves, but like I
right,
just there's so many great people. Why would it be us? And that's where the imposter syndrome comes in, right? So
right.
um
Sometimes
it,
you
it
gotta kind of kick through that.
yeah. So disbelief happened, and it was shocking, but it was awesome. It is an awesome thing.
That's awesome. And then now you also do like NACE. How
Oh,
is
yeah.
Yeah, how's all that?
Oh, yeah. I'm laughing because I'm like, girl, you did a lot of research on me. I don't
I
know.
did. I've
Um,
been a little FBI agent.
Hey, it's always it kind of catches me off guard sometimes when people I had that happen at a Florida summit at USF. Andrew there is awesome, and he had started asking me questions that I was like not I don't want to say not prepared for. I was ready to answer, but I was just impressed at the level of questions, and I also was impressed with your questions. That's my
Thanks.
segue to that. So, um, the board of directors for NACE is a really awesome thing. An experience for like your your individual career, um, and guiding me. I think that kind of led the leadership side of it. I started out Jackie actually had pushed me to be a part of leadership, and I was like, "Jackie, I'm not like I've only been doing this I think at 6 months at that time." And I joined the eligibility enforcement committee, which are unsung heroes of NACE. They're doing a lot of the checks and balances of making sure students are eligible, making sure they have remote play waivers, making sure they're being um, on the up and up with remote play, those
For
sorts of
sure.
things. And so I had started on that role, and within about a year, um, I had been nominated to be on the board of directors. And I at that was like, no, I'm not going to accept this. And I think I had talked to Jackie, and Jackie's like, absolutely, you should be a part of it. And so um, I remember in the year that we got nominated, it was myself, Sari, um, and Katie. Katie has stepped away from esports, but and Jackie had been on the board, so it would four uh, pretty awesome voices in esports got to be on the board together, and
Yeah.
the whole she walked so the other person could run was AJ was the first that was on the board too. So it's kind of a weird circle of unfolding, but it's taught me a lot, especially with the inner workings of certain organizations.
Mhm.
And it's kind of in a sense have shaped the choices of my MBA classes, to kind of like help, hey, I really like this and I want to learn how to do this and I think this is where I want to go in the future. um,
Yeah.
and so I know that's not a deep dive answer, but I think it's more of a self answer.
No, for sure. And it's a good answer too because it's like you know, for younger audience if they're listening and they're not too sure like what they want to be when they grow up. Any like life-changing events that you do definitely goes towards like your future. It shifts you, it makes you want to learn more, especially when like high schoolers or even me. And whenever I was in college, I was like, I don't know what I want to be when I grow up. But it was like, get your basics done, get them out of the way, so then you don't have to worry about those like 5 years later when you decide you want to be a doctor.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, I didn't go to school for any of that. I'm a little bit older. Who goes to school for esports in I'm not going to tell you the year I graduated high school, but let's say, it was a long time ago. And esports didn't exist then. And so I was going for health science, and it just kind of eventually brought me to this and,
Mhm.
keep on chugging kind of thing.
Yeah, for sure. Especially like talking with Sari about this, it doesn't matter if you're in your 20s, your 30s, 40s, even 50s, you can always change your career paths um, tomorrow or even the day before that. You can always change it because, like this is the only life you live. So you might as well, do something with it.
Right. Why stay in a career you're unhappy with? That makes 0 sense.
Yeah, for sure. Um, I also wanted to ask coaching, because that's also a different career path you've done with LTU Esports.
Mhm.
How, what are like the roles in that, or like what kind of like lessons did you learn from coaching? Because I mean that's a different thing than directing or being a board of directors, or it's
Yeah.
another mini hat.
Well, yeah, so it's a little bit I would say I can tell you the huge difference between that role and this role is being that I'm in charge of a building here.
Hmm.
The role here is a little bit bigger. There I was in charge of, I guess, a room of program, similar things that I had to do. I just couldn't really take that program to the next step yet. Um,
Hmm.
and that would just take upper leadership to kind of push it and incentivize that. The hugest difference here is I have a bunch of staff and be able to kind of direct them. But head coach wise, that the difference between that program is that I got to start it. I got to be a big part of it. A huge lesson I learned is do not expand to prove you're capable of something. So I we competed across 9 titles. It was only me full time. So 9 titles, 50 students.
Wow.
Love the students, but I was managing a lot. What I found out is that I was really good at scheduling and moving people around, kind of like fitting, because we only had 12 PCs. Um, so understanding that you should not um, expand beyond what you're capable. So yes, I was capable of it, but actually this is Sari's lesson, not necessarily mine, and I don't even remember. She remembers telling she told somebody it during a panel, but basically is if you do something to that capacity, you almost prove that you can do it. So if you go to them and say, "Hey, I can't continue to work this way." Well, I have been for the last 2 years. So
Yeah.
I proved that I am capable. So why do I have no incentive for them or nothing to tell them, "Hey, I need more help." So word vomit to say you should basically not use it as a pawn or what, but have 4 titles and maybe have 30 students on the roster, but then say, "Hey, I'll expand to 50 or 75 if I can hire another full-time person or get this funding or get these other 5 PCs," or whatever your ask is.
Right.
So that was a lot smaller program, and I think that's the hugest difference. I also didn't have game coaches across all the titles.
Hmm.
So though my title is director here, I'm still mentoring. I'm still kind of guiding them in an overall program.
Hmm.
So there, it was doing every single thing by myself.
Yeah.
And it's interesting to look back and think of it as head coach. There's still similar titles, still similar not similar titles, similar um roles, similar responsibilities. But the difference between the two programs is like I have more. responsibility, but I have more help here,
Mhm.
or I have the same responsibility and more help here, but I had 0 help there, so I almost had to wear every single hat. Um, and the hugest difference here is that I have help, so that's kinda what
Yeah.
drew me here. I know that's a weird, not necessarily answering the question. There's not really a difference between the roles too much, and it's hard to kind of understand from the outside looking in, but yeah.
Yeah. Especially from that, I guess I can pivot off by asking, how did you like handle or avoiding burnout, even from that role to now to now?
Um, I remember vividly talking right before I moved. Not remember right before I moved. I don't even know that Sari knows this, but I had been messaging her and I was walking and I was bawling my eyes out, texting her. She didn't know I was crying because I don't like to tell people that I'm going through things. I like to just suffer through it in silence. Guilty
Yeah.
of that. And I was just like, I just work harder if I burn out. And it is true and it's not true. Like when I start to burn out, I do continue work. I do continue throwing myself into it. I stop taking care of myself. I stop
Yeah.
doing things for myself and I'll do more for other people. But that's also not sustainable.
It's
And so
not.
when I moved here, um, I was very excited about moving here, but like I felt like I had no good ideas and nothing was coming to my brain, and I almost had worse imposter syndrome, like, why am I'm not capable of doing this job anymore. So, like,
Mm.
yeah, cool, I moved, but I don't know what to do. I don't even remember how did I build a program at Lawrence Tech? Like, I just didn't know what it so my burnout was, like, complete brain fog and silence. But my first sign of burnout is that I stopped taking care of myself. So, anyone
Yeah.
listening, if you notice Danielle's not taking care of yourself, just maybe be like, "Hey, did you go get yourself a coffee today or something?" I don't know.
Yes.
Yeah,
I will
but
put that in my notes.
yeah, thanks. So burnout wise, I heard a quote rather recently is like, if you don't love yourself or give energy to yourself or give yourself time, how can you give that to other people?
Mhm.
And so, like, it was more about obviously love, but you can equate it to time. So if I have nothing to give anyone, because I'm not giving it, if I don't give to myself first, I have nothing to give to anyone else. So
Yeah.
give to yourself first. It's okay to give to yourself first, because that's going to stop some of the burnout, maybe, hopefully.
Hopefully. That is actually like some really good advice too to give to like other people that maybe even want to do the directing or look up to you on roles that you do, because what I'm seeing is I see like this chain link of people who are inspired by one person, so they do things because they're inspired by that person, but they feel like, there's not people inspired by me, but then like there are people inspired by them. And like, what advice would you give to someone who is inspired by you or wanting to go into like the esports space and do something that you do?
Oh, it's a tough one. I'm smiling. I don't know if it's a video too, but I like I'm just me. So like just keep working. Keep um know that you're helping somebody. I got into this because I not just esports, academia. I had 0 guidance in college. I am a first generation college graduate and I had 0 guidance. I didn't know what I wanted to do or what I wanted to be. So, I guess my personal self is trying to do that same thing. So, drawing off my own experiences and trying to be the person that I needed when I was in that age or that time of my life and give it and be there for somebody that needs it at that time. So I we talked about burnout, right?
Mhm.
And she'll probably yell at me if she can hear me, but after this call. But Anna, I had seen all of the things that I was doing at Lawrence Tech that she started doing or she was doing. And I almost wouldn't have been able to recognize it to the capacity as if I hadn't just stepped away from that. So I almost try to draw off the things I need and try to be there for that person.
Mhm.
But thank you for anyone who thinks I'm an inspiration. Like I'm just no, I'm not. I'm just me. I want to be the best version. We're also perfectly imperfect. So I am gonna say some things that'll make people angry. So will you. Uh, that's apologize, move forward. Um, when you make bad decisions, because you will, it's okay. If you fail at something, it's okay. That's what brings success. All of these things happen and need to happen for you to grow and be better.
That's awesome. Now, what would you say post Danielle Esports? What advice would you give her?
Am I retired? Man, uh, don't give every part of yourself to that program. Take care of yourself and do not lose yourself. I was super healthy before esports. I ran triathlons and I ran a half marathon. And I gave every bit of myself to my former program. Um, and I don't know that I would not do that again. I think I would just change and shift a little bit. People say, "Oh, get them here." I think I at least would have continued to walk and do things if I would have known where I would feel emotionally. But
Mhm.
does like it's a weird thing to say. And also keep on going. Keep on going. I don't know where I'm going. I had somebody a former boss tell me, "Hey, it's a river. Just follow the river. Stay with the river. Wherever the river takes you, just go with it." And I'm like,
That's
"Okay."
awesome. Right? And now
Yeah.
that that river is just taking you down this path and you're still here and you're kicking it, which is awesome.
Yeah, well, the funniest part about this is I wanted to live by the ocean my entire life. So it's not even in the it's satiated like the fact that I really wanted to live by the ocean. I had only been to the ocean like 2 times in my life. Um but I love water, so I knew I wanted to be near it. I just love Michigan is surrounded by water, but I'd been to the Great Lakes. It wasn't
Right.
the same. Um and so for now, this is where I reside, and it's been great for the soul and my psyche, I guess.
Including the, 2 hurricanes that just happened.
Hey, I only got hit by one,
Oh, good,
and
good.
it took a last turn at the last second. Don't believe all the hype. I think the news gave you guys more hype than it gave
Oh,
us
yeah.
because I actually had text Sari and was like, I don't know what to do. My family, it's Tuesday, no hurricane is here. It's sunny outside, and they're all like, "Are you safe?" And I love them. They were very worried about me, and Anna had warned me too that was going to happen, but um she's like, "Yeah, that's probably more of the stress is managing your family and your friends outside of this. They don't understand." I'm like, "I think being an outsider of Florida, I think what I realize is they just think it's tornadoes. I think that they
Yeah.
think it's just like the tornado or Twister, like they or whatever day after tomorrow. And it's not like that.
Oh
It
my
was just a
gosh.
bunch of rain and obviously when it's hot categories, I'm not experienced like I'm talking like I know, but it gets more aggressive as the category rises, right? So,
Right. For sure, and especially with the news going, "It's this," and then, like, I'm messaging my friends in Florida, be like, "You okay?" I'm like, yeah, yeah, I'm watching TV. What are you doing?" It's like,
yeah.
"I'm stressing out about you."
Yeah, you don't have to. Just the best advice I ever got, as I've said her name like 47 times, was Sari telling me to go get gas because it's the
Yeah.
first thing that runs out. And so then I gave my advice to my team and I was like, go get gas. That's all. Like, you guys are fine with water, and there was no gas the day of the hurricane.
Oh,
The
wow.
day the hurricane was supposed to be coming. There was no gas here either. And I'm like, well,
Oh
I
my
don't need to
gosh.
go anywhere, but that's good to know I got gas.
Right?
Yeah.
That's awesome. Well, I appreciate this so much. Thank you for talking with me and answering my questions and make me feel like a FBI, but not a good FBI because I realized who I was talking to after realizing I posted a podcast.
Hey, we're listen, this is a small industry, uh, collegiate esports, and it's just growing. People are starting to kind of uh, spread their wings into other parts of the industry. So I think
Mhm.
we all have just like circled around each other. But you have been awesome host. Don't even worry about that. You've
Thanks.
done awesome questions, and you're
Thanks.
super fun. So like, don't count yourself short. You're doing great.
Thank you for my advice. I appreciate it.
Yeah, you're doing hey, esports and coffee, we screw up every time we start the stream, whether it be, hey, the stream starts at time on time, but we're not realizing that we're live, and so we're just chatting, or
Yeah,
whatever weird thing that happens. So, you know, just go with it.
I will. I appreciate you. For
Yeah.
socials, for if people want to find you, where can they find you?
Oh, yeah, socials. My Twitter and Instagram, which I just post randomly. I'm not very good anymore, or I'm not very active on social media anymore, but um, Coach Sirekis, no spaces. And then
Perfect.
also, you should follow esports underscore coffee on Twitter. I think it's esports and coffee on Twitch. I don't know. One of them is might be different because I remember we couldn't get the other one,
Oh no.
right?
That's
I don't
awesome.
stream either, so like, and you can come to visit me in Melbourne, Florida, and I'll give you a tour of the facility. But call first
Yes.
or email and set up a time because I don't live here, so but I really would love to show you anyone who wants to see it.
Yes, that'll be a trip list for next year.
Yeah.
I will also put all the links in the description and in the show notes below. And yeah, thank you so much for being a part of my podcast. And I will see you guys Friday.
Bye. Thank you so much.
Bye. Okay, where's that?